that read it at the beginning knew that it was a different level of television script writing. But none of us could have predicted that it would connect with people in such a sort of strong way. That, like, the fans are really, really, really loyal. And we're all really, really proud. I mean, Steve Knight is a phenomenal writer. And I think he said to me once that writing the scripts for Peaky Blinders, it's like, it comes out of him like spring water. Do you know what I mean? Because he's from Birmingham. These are stories that he was told as a kid. So it comes from a place of truth for him. At the same time, it's highly stylized and heightened. You know, the whole sort of look of the show, costumes and the haircut and the caps and the music, it's had a life of its own, and people identify with it, you know?
It's delicate, Mr. Shelby. Concerns the factory down the road at the BSA. Rumours get started.
Rumours that there was a robbery.
Robbery of what?
Speak.
I asked my men to steal me 4 bikes with petrol engines. They picked up the wrong fucking crate.
So that's why they sent a copper from Belfast.
Maybe, maybe not.
Thomas, you're a bookmaker, a robber, a fighting man. You're not a fool. You sell those guns to anyone, you will hang.
Part of the reason the show has been successful is that it was a world that hadn't been explored before. You know, in America, sort of the gangster genre, or the sort of story of, you know, immigrants, i.e. cowboys, you know, or, you know, the Italians in Scorsese, you know, like, that's been explored and mythologized so effectively for decades, whereas in Britain, speaking as an Irishman, in Britain, like, that hasn't been explored so much. And then that world, that industrial world of Birmingham, it was the sort of center of manufacturing in Britain and in Europe at the time. So yeah, it was like, and the sound design of it is very important as well. It's just heavy industry happening everywhere, you know? And those furnaces would have been going off like that everywhere. So, but also it's visually really appealing. He has this very funny relationship with mortality, Tommy, because I think the stuff that he witnessed in France, in the trenches, you know, changed him. And there are things that neither you or I could ever imagine. And it was the worst job in the army at that time. They called them clay kickers. It was the worst job. They would tunnel down in these tunnels the size of their body, and they would pass the earth back, and obviously the tunnels would collapse very often, and then sometimes they'd be tunneling parallel to the Germans, you know, and they would break through and have these fights, and it was like hand-to-hand combat. And so to come out of that, like Tommy comes out of that and is decorated and saved lives and done all of those things, so you can see why other veterans of the war would have respect for him. I think what makes him such a dangerous adversary is that he is unafraid to die, and I think ultimately death to him might seem like some sort of release.
And the bleak midwinter.
At some point in the near future, Mr. Churchill will want to speak to you in person, Mr. Shelby. He has a job for you. We will be in touch. Get out of the grave, Tinker. Be on your fucking way.
People bring that scene up a lot as their favorite scene of the show. It's a brilliantly written scene, brilliantly shot scene. And I remember reading it and going, well, that's it. He's dead. I mean, how is he going to get out of this? He's clearly dead. And no one predicts this sort of twist in it who hasn't seen it before. Yeah, we really spent a lot of time making that and shooting it, and And I think because he's so close to death that he almost welcomes it. And then when he survives, it's like, fuck, I have to keep going. I have to keep going. And it was a turning point in his development as a character, I think. I've played him now for 5, this will be the 5th series. So it's a, like I said, about reprising characters. I'd never done that before, but I have these roles that are extraordinarily written in such great detail. And to be able to go back to them season after season, it's been a real gift for me. And I suppose, yeah, it's very personal because people can consume it however they choose, you know, in blocks, in seasons, in episodes. And you're beamed into their living room, so I feel like they have some sort of kinship or ownership or whatever that is stronger than a 2-hour performance in a film, you know, which eventually it goes out of circulation. Films naturally do. Whereas television, people discover it and rewatch it and keep rewatching it, and it develops this life of its own, which is unpredictable, you know.